What are your gifts? What do you desire for yourself? What do you envision for the entire planet? Immerse yourself into the Ascension of the Soul online 2-day conference. Explore your soul's purpose and experience deep connection to all that you are. A collaboration of luminaries here to support you in understanding and remembering your true potential. Brought to you by Soul Search and Portal to Ascension. Now is the time to awaken to our soul's gifts and abilities. Join us October 15th and 16th, 2022.
Wow, welcome everyone. We are all things Ascension, talking about Ascension of the Soul, the journey we're taking. I'm your host, Joan of Angels. We are back again talking about the journey of the soul. I'm with my favorite co-host, Tanjila from Soul Search. Hi, love.
Hi, Joan. Hi, everyone. It's so great to be back with you here today and with everyone talking about our favorite topic, Ascension and Ascension of the Soul. So excited to be with you again.
Yeah, it is really exciting. I love what you do, Soul Search. And I love, like I'm an intuitive guide, and we kind of work on how do we connect with the divine? How do we learn to let go? How do we learn to go with the flow? Oh, I'm going to wrap this in a second. Just like, how do we learn to go with the flow as we learn to let go? And that's one of the things we're going to be talking about today
The
with our
poet,
guest.
Joan, the poet coming out for us right now. Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, so guys, we are doing a wonderful series for the next month. All of these great speakers from Soul Search who are going to be on the conference Ascension of the Soul. And Tanjila and I want to show it to you so that you too can get excited, and maybe you'll join us so you can meet all of these wonderful people we're interviewing. So tell us about the conference, Tanjila.
Sure, Joan. So we have a really exciting 2-day online conference coming up on Ascension of the Soul, where we have 25 incredible speakers that are going to be speaking about what that means from a variety of different perspectives, from managing your human body, from the power of organite, the angelic realms, which Joan of Angels will be talking about, quantum manifesting, all these different Native American, Akashic records, the dark night of the soul. So there's so many aspects to Ascension, and it means something so different for each one of us. So it's going to just be really exciting to have these 2 days where each speaker is going to be chatting about Ascension from their perspective and what it means for each one of us personally, what it means for our soul, and what it means for humanity. And it's going to be really incredible. 2 days of downloads, and it'll be available for replay. So if there's specific speakers that you felt you were really activated by, you can always go back and catch the replay. And to lead up to that, we're having this almost 2-month interview series where we're interviewing each one of our speakers so that all of you can do a deep dive into who they are, their journey to get where they are, and where they see the world going today.
Guys, the link to sign up will be below, and we look forward to seeing you on that conference. Both Tanjila and I will be on that conference too, so that's exciting.
Exactly.
So now let's talk about our speaker for today and the interview we're about to do.
Yes. So Lisa McCardle, she is the creator of Inner Wisdom Awakening. And Lisa is an author, speaker, transformational life coach, and light counsel channel. For more than 25 years, Lisa has guided high-powered executives, influencers, and everyday people through the process of awakening for expansion, finding purpose, and reclaiming true personal power the feminine way. She is passionate about supporting souls to plug back into the source from which they were created to awaken their fullest potential and witness the magic of their extraordinary life unfold before them. So we're really excited to have Lisa McCardle here. She's an incredible ascension guide, life coach, and channel. And she'll be joining us today to really chat with us about what her own personal journey and what this time means for her with the ascension of the soul.
I love the way you talk about it. So well said. Welcome, Lisa.
Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Hello, hello, hello.
We're very excited to have you here.
Right.
I'm honored to be here.
So, Lisa, I know I'm really curious how you got started on your journey and the work that you do on Ascension. Like, how did you get started on this?
That is a big question. How did it all begin? It began when I was 3, actually. It began as a 3-year-old living in an old farmhouse on the East Coast and being woken up by ghosts in the middle of the night.
Wow.
And panicking and screaming out to my mother, who was very religious, and ghosts just weren't part of our experience. So I shut it all down. And then we fast forward to when I was 25 years old. I became a massage therapist. I landed my dream job in Big Sur. I'm on top of a cliff. I'm massaging this man, and I start seeing the story of this man's life, and it wasn't pretty. And it was like long before the Me Too movement and overpowering women with like power and sexuality. And I panicked because everything I had shut down as a 3-4-year-old came back to me as a 24-year-old, 25-year-old. And all of a sudden it was undeniable. I knew this was my path, that I had sight, and that I had to figure out how to make that sight part of my service. And so began the unfolding of what is happening, what does this mean, reaching out to a lot of support, finding an intuitive psychic woman who was in my community, who was also told by spirit it was time for her to teach what she did. And here I was knocking on her door, please teach me how to work with these energies and this experience that is completely overwhelming me. So that's how I got here. And it's been, 27 years plus. Here we go.
Wow. So, okay. So that's a wonderful start. So you actually had these gifts, like so many of us, by the way, that we had to learn to shut them down. And so now you're like, what does Ascension mean to you then? And like, what are you doing now then?
Yeah. Well, Ascension to me, I mean, it took, several decades to understand what the true purpose was, because that's what we're all doing here. And I would say really in the last 10 to 15 years, this understanding of what is happening as a collective of humanity here in this great awakening, and knowing that each of us holds these very specific, very tender, very poignant, powerful gifts, right? And really getting the message that if we're going to wake this planet up, and even beginning to understand what waking a planet up means, right? None of that meant anything to me until it did. So Ascension to me is this amazing pathway that we're on as humans, on this waking up to remember who we are at soul level, waking up the consciousness of those that walk this path with us, really supporting this Gaia, this earth, as she ascends, we ascend, as we ascend, she ascends. So it's become so clear. It's been all these decades of work and guidance and listening. And now I know why. Thank God. Thank all that is holy, right? I know now why I've had this lifetime journey, and it's for now. It's for now.
Wow. And so thanks, Lisa. So you mentioned that you had this revelatory experience, 24 years old, giving a massage. Where, then what took you from that moment of understanding that, oh, I have these gifts of sight, to then actually becoming a transformational coach and a channel? When did those abilities come through where you felt confident and like, wow, I have these gifts and now I can actually support people in their life with them? How did that transition take place?
Yeah, it's such a great question, because it really has truly been a lifelong journey. So at that initiation, as the 24, 25-year-old standing on the cliffs of Big Sur, seeing all of this, I was like, holy wow, here we go. And it's been a lifetime journey of studying and expanding. And once I understood that the gifts existed, I simply have been walking the course and studied so many different things, right? Like, I mean, certifications are no limits. You know, it's just like one thing after another, and always being guided into the next thing. So I was a hands-on healer for many years. So a massage therapist for 22. The gifts of sight and clarity and intuition and psychic and mediumship were coming through naturally with that, with a lot of help and guidance. And in 2014, I took my hands out of the equation and kept my heart connected, which enabled me to move remotely and continue serving, which also has gifted me the opportunity to work with people all over the world, right? And it's interesting, just these last few weeks, I'm like, I want to touch people again, but in a new way. So isn't it interesting, the full circle? So it's literally been a life's exploration of deep listening. And when I feel called and something feels resonant, I followed the threads to learn. I'd say in the last 10 years or so, when the channeling came in, and it was Kuan Yin actually who worked with me through the realms. It took me probably almost 2 years to really get out of the way with her guidance, to let her move through my physical body. So when that really came through, that really changed everything. So I worked a lot with guides and angels, and then I moved into more of a galactic realm probably in the last 10 years. And the Light Council came in and showed themselves to me as a council of 13. And it's literally just been listening, trusting, and letting go, right? So we can flow. It's getting out of the way. So what is naturally occurring within my system had space to present itself, and always knowing at the core that this is for service, right? This is what we're here to do. When the soul summons, we respond and we get the support that we need, and we show up because it's our purpose.
And who is the Light Council? Who is this council of 13?
Yeah, it's really fascinating. It's interesting because when they first came, I see them literally as light orbs sitting around one of those like King Arthur tables. Like, it's literally these different light forces. So waking up to understanding that I'm a star seed, as many of us are, coming from the stars, I was connected a lot with Pleiadian energy. So they represent all of the star-seeded constellations. I hold more DNA of the Pleiadian, Arcturian, Lemurian. So they come forward more, but the whole council represents all of the seeded stars. Yeah.
Wow.
Do they share with you messages for the planet, or why they're here right now?
They do. Yes. They've come through to really give some clarity about what's happening. Again, the Great Awakening, right? What's happening at this time, and also to support that remembrance. I really do believe that our awakening is not bringing out information from the outside. It's really awakening to that remembrance of what is coded within our DNA, what lives within our soul, and through veils and programs we've forgotten. And so what they show me is that they need us awake and remembered as much as we need it. And what they've shown me is that this planet, it's like a cell of the body could be operating in a way that is not optimized to the whole, like cancer, right? You can have a cancer cell in the body, and it can stay there for a really long time, having no negative effect upon the collective. But if left unattended and left to its own demise for too long, it can start to have effect upon the whole. And what they're showing me is that the experience of humanity on this planet was that for a long time. And now it is having effect upon a whole that is greater than we can understand. And so they're here because they need us to awaken as much as we do. Because us as planet, as humanity, is the vibratory sequence that goes out into the universe and into all of the other cosmic collectives. We're having effect in a negative way upon the greater collective. And so they need us to rise up as much as we do. So that's what they share with me.
Beautiful. And so when you're working with clients, are you bringing
for us to think about? So it's all our personal responsibility, really, to start to awaken, start to remember, start to raise our own frequencies, to step into this new consciousness.
Well, and I'll take that responsibility as our ability to respond. So yes, we have an agreement, and it is our ability in any moment to respond to the opportunities that are before us. We still have free will.
And this is the most perfect time to begin to remember, because we're needed right now. That's the way I feel. So much has gone on the last few years that this is really the time, all of us, to learn how we can be the best kind of human we can be, I think is a good way to put it for these coming times.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Yeah. What do
Yeah.
you think, Tanjila?
Yeah, no, exactly. I wanted to ask Lisa. So, Lisa, when you are working with clients about, taking them, helping and guiding them through this ascension process, and I know it looks different for everyone, but what are you seeing? What are there themes that are coming up? Like, do you mostly work with women, and what kind of, support and guidance do you give? And is the Light Council a part of that in any way? So.
Yeah, those are such great questions. It's so multifaceted, of course, and we show up as we show up. And I believe that as healers, our opportunity or our job is to show up as an open vessel, or that hollow bone, gathering all the tools and all the things we've done over this lifetime and stand in whatever needs to happen in that moment. I do tend to attract mostly women into my work, although there's a few sacred masculine souls that come in, and I appreciate working with them as well. But predominantly women who are attracted to me. I know that I'm here to support the rise of the divine feminine too. So my work is pivoting a bit into more of that focus. What comes through, is there a theme? I would say the theme in being a healer most of my life, the theme I see across the board, if we take everything down to its like taproot, right, up to the core, is a deep belief in our worth and our ability to be worthy of love. And so really the extraction point is always coming back down to this core understanding and remembrance that you are worthy because you exist. And especially on this planet, in this now time, in this now moment, like only the supersonic souls are here right now, because all hands on deck to do this really arduous big thing that's never really been done before. So if you need proof of your worth, you're a human being on planet Earth right now. Like, enough said. You are worthy because you exist and because you're here now. And I would say that most of what blocks us, what prevents us, is kind of that wounding, that forgetting that we are worthy and that we are a vessel of unconditional love. And so it sounds, a little Pollyanna, but honestly, it all kind of comes down to this, like, know that you are worthy, and everything else, falls into place. So how we get there is through a lot of DNA activation, a lot of kind of shadowy imprint extraction, calling forth and commanding the cells of the body and and the memories that they hold, to release them and to go back into the great remembrance of the original blueprint from our DNA of who we actually are and why we are here. And once we can get to that with the tools and the practices that come on a daily, in a daily way, I believe the rest happens as if by magic. Like when we get the illusion out of the way and we really stand, our souls want to guide us home. And what we really then from that place get to do is walk each other home. So it's not a me thing, it's a we thing for sure. And so I also really hold a strong belief system that we hold all the answers within ourselves. And so my job is to stand in front of those who come in front of me, to reflect themselves back to themselves so they can remember what they have forgotten, so they can stand as powerful in their own light and their own intuitive guidance. That, that the age of the guru is done. You are the way shower. You are the magic maker. Let's plug you back into that. And the rest happens as if by magic, right?
So you're so right. You're so right. This whole concept of remembering who we are and why we're here. Do you also work as a medium or a channel, giving, do you connect with departed souls, or you're connecting with your people's guides and angels or loved ones? How does that work for you?
Yes. I don't put myself out there as I don't summon dead people on demand. So, but with invitation, and if the spirit wants to come through, they usually do come through. I've been on my own journey of death this last year, so I've been initiated into the portal of death with the death of my partner just a year ago. So that brings us to the power of letting go. Actually, is a lot of what was experienced within me over this last year of losing, like literally being initiated through a death portal for the first time at 52. So I had never dealt with death before. So all of the decades of spirits and speaking through the veils became really different when it was my person on the other side. So I've learned a lot about communication, and I've learned a lot about death and a lot about life through having walked this experience. So I do work in mediumship. I don't lead with it because it's up to the souls of communication and connection need to converge in any given moment. I do work with guides and angels. I do work with galactics. I'm pretty much here for it all. I mean, in all the ways. Like I'm here for it all from a spiritual teaching perspective, and I'm here for it all as a human. I'm a human first. I am here to have all of the human experiences, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. And I really, truly feel that it's made me a better healer because I've walked so many pathways. And I know we share this, Tanjila, and some things you've shared. Like I have walked through the seedy and the dark and all kinds of things and always been brought back to the light. And so I can show up with there's very little someone could tell me that would shock me or that I would judge because I've walked so much in this human life. It makes me really neutral and like, okay, well, what do I want to create now? So that's a really long way of answering your question, but it's all very complexicated, isn't it? There's no straight line. So
It makes a lot of sense to me, love.
great.
Absolutely. I understand you don't lead with, well, I'm a medium because you really are a soul awakening person. You're someone who helps people remember what their big picture. So it's
Exactly.
more about, it's not about that. Wow. Well, this is good. So what are you going to be sharing and teaching about our
I kind of lost you a little bit. I think the question was, what am I going to be teaching and sharing about? Yes.
what?
Yeah, the thing that came through that really wanted to be talked about was the power of letting go. So I am in the process of finishing a book that started about 18 months ago, I would say. And it's a book about ascension, go figure, and the Great Awakening. And it's broken into 4 parts. And what Spirit has shown me is that the step 1 to our Great Awakening is that we must be present in all things, present in this moment. That presence is the key to walking us home. From that presence point, we can come into greater connection, see and hear and understand the communication of the universe in all the ways, through nature, numbers, spirit, information, all the ways that that connection is delivered, and the whisper of the trees. And so there's lots in the book about my own experience of presence and connection. And then step 3 is deconstruction. And I was like, okay, deconstruction. You let go of the stuff that doesn't work for you anymore. I had no idea. So in the middle, I'm writing this book and I get to deconstruction, and every part of my life starts to unfurl. It's the only way I can describe it. I had an astrology reading from a friend 9 months before it all began. She's like, oh, Saturn, here comes Saturn, like a Saturn return, all this craziness. She's like, your life isn't going to look the same in a year. And I was like, great, I'll lose the extra weight. My book will get done. My business will take off. Everything's going to be so great. And what happened was I was literally asked to let go of everything. It started with my dream house, selling, needing to move, went into looking at my 15-year relationship, knowing it needed to change, making a decision to separate from my partner. sending a kid off to college, reconstructing a business, letting go of 80% of my human belongings because the house was a grand, beautiful house, and just letting go, letting go, letting go. I go to Hawaii because I couldn't find a place to live. I'm going there to write my book. I can't write the book. I come home a week early, and my partner dies unexpectedly 42 hours after my return. So it's like I thought I had done, I'm like, okay, I'm getting good at this letting go. And then poof, I had to let go, like really let go. And so I've been moving through a dark night of the soul. And so what I've learned is that deconstruction phase, that letting go is at such a personal, such a soul level. And nothing looks the same on the other side of it. So I've learned a lot, and I believe, and I still have a lot more to go because I'm still walking through it, right? We're all walking each other home. But I believe that learning how to let go, how to surrender is such a pivotal, quintessential aspect, because what comes next is we ascend, and we can't do it with all the heavy weight that we were carrying that was created in the third density. We have to let go of all those things, those beliefs, remember the 5 and 10-year plans? Like, what is that? We have no space for that anymore. It's like 5 or 10-minute plan, maybe days if we're lucky. But we really are learning this deep surrender. So part of what I want to present is some tools for that, what it looks like in real time, and what awaits on the other side.
Wow. Beautiful, Lisa. I mean, thank you so much for being so vulnerable and sharing your story, with everyone, because people can look at you as this transformational coach and healer, speaker, author, leader, but, you're also on your own journey, of ascension.
Yeah, and it is a doozy, but we're doing it one step at a time, right? And we all really do rise together. So we're not doing it alone.
Right. We're not doing it alone. And that's why it's wonderful when we have teachers and mentors and guides who let us know we're not crazy, number one, and help us learn the steps to get there. Well, I know what, Lisa, I don't know about you. I'm guessing about you and Tanjila, but we're not the same women we were as kids. Our thought, I don't know about you, but my thought, I live, my concepts of, living for a higher purpose. Wasn't me when I was 20. So I think that the life, this is part of our life journey. I'm so excited about people just listening to you. And now there's an opportunity for people to awaken to the next level and change their vibratory frequency.
Amen. I don't think I'm the same person I was 10 minutes ago, let alone 10, 20, 50 years ago, right?
Right.
It's happening pretty fast these days.
Exactly. And so, Lisa,
today, right?
one of the things you mentioned is that you feel your work pivoting to be really, truly in support of the divine feminine. And so what does that mean for you? Like, what does that mean for you in this day and age? I just love to hear.
That's real exciting. Yeah, it's through. So, part of the journey through Hawaii was Spirit was like, you will die 1,000 deaths to be reborn 1,001 times. I thought that was like lifetimes. I didn't know it was a year. So part of the death birth cycle is that I have woken up so much to so many things and been reborn so many times this year that literally I'm like, who am I in the new? And part of what's come through is really a lot of information about some of the ancient kind of temple Magdalene goddess temple practices, but also emerging, into this galactic kind of connection that I have. And so it's this emergence and merging of ancient temple practices, also that move into the sacred sexuality and sex magic and temple practices, with bringing us into the ascension from a galactic perspective as well. So it's all just coming to life within my own body. I've been shown that the womb of the feminine must be connected into the womb of Gaia in order for the earth and for the feminine to rise. And in so doing, we take the masculine with us. The masculine has been wounded greatly as well. And so this new calling inside of me it feels very ancient and like it's the quantum to the concrete kind of thing, like the past to the futuristic. And it hasn't been sauced out all the way yet, but isn't this fun? So we'll see. It has to do with feminine empowerment, reawakening our connection into Gaia, bringing in our most sacred of all energies, which is our sexual and our creative Kundalini energy, and ascending the collective of humanity through those principles and practices. So
Wow.
won't it be fun to see what happens?
Exciting.
I'm in a curiosity around it too. Yeah.
Beautiful. And so one of the things that you've been talking about is just knowing yourself as a star seed and, becoming more comfortable with that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, people today? Are more and more people becoming in touch and aware of themselves as star seeds? And what about the younger generation? Are they
Oh,
more tuned in and tapping in? Because I only recently found out about star seeds. I really love, my star seed self, but it was really just in the last 2-3 years that I even came to know about star seeds and our galactic families. And I'm just, but now everything's accelerating. So how do you see this playing out?
yeah. It's one of my favorite questions, actually. I love it. When the Pleiadians first made contact with me, because that's the strongest energy that I hold, they started explaining it to me. And then, then the whole council came in
When
at
was
some
that, Lisa?
um Gosh, I don't know. Does time exist anywhere? It was sometime in the last 10 years. I'd say right around 2014-ish, maybe somewhere around there, 2012, 20. Yeah, probably 10 years. Who knows? um, but this is so fascinating. So a lot of what I've been finding over the last few years is a lot of my clients' children, especially daughters, are really struggling a lot. And they're like, can you work with my daughter? Can you work with my child? Can you work with my child? So it just keeps coming in. So a lot of mentoring young people has really helped me understand star seeds at another level. And so this is my perception in a nutshell, is that mostly everyone on the planet right now holds starseed remembrance. And so most everyone in this audience knows what that means, but just in case, it's that all of our lifetimes have not been lived in the embodiment of the human in planet Earth, and that we've lived in other galactic experiences. So we hold DNA from other expressions, right? Other star constellations. And so I believe that every generation holds greater density, if that makes sense. So my generation, those in their 50s, we had to really do some work, and work is not it's a 4-letter word. I don't like the word work, but we really had to do some exploration and some healing to get into that remembrance of being a star seed, to get into that remembrance of the superpowers that we have, to get into that remembrance that we have all the knowledge codes within us. Like, we know it all when we get the obstruction to knowledge out of the way. Right. And so for me, the star seed awakening, I see each generation having to do almost greater work because there's more density laid on top of it. So people in their 70s and 80s have had to do more of an arduous journey into that remembrance of those star seeds. And every generation that came after us, I'm seeing them as holding greater and greater and greater remembrance. So much so that I would say that a lot of the children that are incarnating onto the planet right now haven't lived a lot of lifetimes on planet Earth, that they hold almost in some ways exclusive, or like, I know I've been here many, 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 many life. Like, I had to take a lot of journeys through density, like a lot of lifetimes through density, to then remember, so that I could be part of the bridge of walking people out of that density into the lightness. Our star seeds, the children, the younger ones, especially those under 20, I would say, come with such pure light and have not experienced much density. And they're suffering, they're struggling. They come from a place of such expansion and such light code remembrance. And they get here, and this is hard. It's and I believe that some of the first ones in, it's kind of like the old time wars, the first soldiers on the battlefield, right? They took the hardest hit. some of these children are like, they're struggling with anxiety. They're highly sensitive. They don't know how to deal with their sensitivity. I'm filled with chills. They don't know how to deal with their sensitivity. They're medicated. They're confused. They're OCD. They're struggling in all these ways. And it's like, because they're pure light and this place is so dense still. And they came here because, you know, there's the tipping point when there's enough light being held on this planet, the consciousness rises. And so they came here in service as volunteers to bring that pure light here. And it's an arduous journey for them, and they need a ton of support. So I believe that the babies that are coming in now are such pure crystalline light, because they're bringing the energy of who we're becoming. We're becoming new humans, and they hold the template of that. And meanwhile, us who hold more density from the generations of living are doing our work to peel that density away, to get into the remembrance of that light. So does that all make sense?
Yeah, it's beautiful. We're in an exciting time. And so do you feel like the children, we have a lot to learn from the children then, as they bring forth the new human.
We have a lot to learn from the children because they are such a clear channel to where we're going. And we also, I believe, need to give them a lot of support so that they can feel really safe here and know how to deal in this very different world, because they're not here to learn this world. They're here to make a new one. Right? So we need to keep them safe and keep them connected, and so that they can remember us to the higher level. Yeah, they're in such service, and we need to serve them in exchange.
They came to change the planet in a world that really has forgotten who they are. And so part of your work, I understand, is helping them come to remember who they are and to remember what tools that they've come here with.
Yeah, and to give them some tools that they don't have because they haven't been in this density before, right? Yeah.
It's all good. Very interesting. Do you have any messages for us, or you guys want us to know all together?
Do I have any messages for you?
Yeah, from your guy.
For the group.
Oh,
Your guy want to.
Not from me personally. Although, you know.
They're saying what it is that we would most like you to be in the remembrance of this day, dear ones, is that you are not alone on this journey of amplification, that the amplification is actually your natural state, and the experiences that you're having in the density of this planet and space and place of which you are living is far from natural for you. So you might believe that there is something that you must learn, or something that you must obtain, or something that you must get that is experienced outside of yourself. But what we are here to remind you of this day is that everything that you seek, everything that you desire, and all the tools to get there are very much alive within you. And when you stop distracting yourself through outside experiences, when you stop distracting yourself with your devices and with your medications and with your habits, and when you stop distracting, then the magic can unfold and unfurl within you to guide you home to the great remembrance of why it is that you are here. And please do know they're saying that we are here to guide you and support you. All you need to do is say, please, galactic beings of light and remembrance, please guide me back. Please guide me home. Please walk with me. And we are happy to serve you in such a way.
Beautiful.
So I take that message to mean just to ask, right? Go sit under the stars and go ask to be remembered, and know that you are never, the messages will come straight through you. It took me 2 years to learn how to channel. It can take 2 minutes in this frequency to connect. All you have to do is be intentional. Make sure you are asking that any energies that come are for highest good, and let it pour through you. This is not unique to me.
Right. Wonderful. I'm so excited to meet you. I'm excited that you can be on our conference.
Me too.
You have a lot to offer, right?
We're gonna have so much fun. And that's the important thing, is that we need to really lighten up this load and have a lot of fun along the way, right?
Exactly. And so, Lisa, we have a comment from Priscilla Ann Fonseca. She was saying, I had a NDE as I was rushed into the ER for an emergency C-section with my son, Elias Josiah. I was a code blue for 9 minutes, and since then, my awakening began. And
Woo.
so, we're seeing, thank you so much for sharing that, Priscilla Ann. Powerful. And then she goes on to just describe how her son is connected to her dad, who he's never met in person and always kisses his picture. So, again, a star seed baby connected to, the other realms. So that's beautiful. And, her Priscilla sharing her awakening experience. Are you seeing people coming to you with their awakening experiences and, all these different
So much so. And thank you for sharing, Priscilla. That is, that is a real extreme rapid initiation. And I have to say, listening to people's near-death experiences brought me so much peace after my partner passed. You know what you know, but it makes a difference when it's in that moment. So thank you for being brave, and I hope you share your story. People are awakening all over the place, and it's not always this big kaboom. Like, that's a big kaboom of awakening, right? That will pivot and shift the entirety of your life. But we can't miss the subtleties, right? There's those subtleties, and I consider the subtleties to be like, a dear friend of mine lost her son a few months ago, and I was in California last week, and we were sitting by a river in a very sacred space, and I said, does your son come to you as, a bird or hummingbirds or dragonflies? And she's like, no, I haven't really attached to that. And that night I was staying with her, and that night she's like, you're not going to believe this. There's a dragonfly in my bedroom, and it woke me up in the night, and it's fluttering around the bedroom. And the next day she couldn't find it. She's like, it must have gotten out. And she went to bed that night. She pulled her covers back, and the dragonfly it had passed. It was dead, but it was on her pillow. And she knows that that's a message from her son. So what I'm saying is that when we're in present, the communion and connection of all that is sacred and holy, and the way this universe communicates through animals and signs and symbols, it is a great mystery that we're here to decode. And our awakening can be as subtle as sitting outside and having a butterfly or a dragonfly land on our hand and knowing in that moment that we are connected to all things. So, and it can be a series of events that subtle and that beautiful that walk us home to this remembrance. It can be extreme, like loss or like a near-death experience. We're all in the process of awakening. There's not a human being on this planet that is not here for this journey. And so if we're willing to look at everything as the magical miracle of our awakening, we're going to see the subtleties, and sometimes we'll get the extremes, but we're all doing the process.
Well said.
Let's do this thing. Becoming new humans. Here we go. I mean, what choice do we have?
So it is.
And so it is.
You're coming to us today. Very much.
It's
How do
been
people find?
Either on my website is lisamccardle.com, and I did put there's a meditation that I dropped in here that is a free meditation. It's a connection back into Earth, into Gaia. I was shown a few years ago that when our umbilical cords are cut, we perceive it as one of our first traumas. And that we believe that we're cut from source. And so this meditation connects us back and umbilically connects us to Gaia, to Mama Earth, so that we can feel that connection and be part of that remembrance. So there's a free meditation over there. Instagram, I'm Lisa McCardle, _ and Soul Search. Lisa/McCardle. So there's lots of ways to find me. Let's play.
And we're so excited to be hosting you on the Ascension of the Soul conference coming up, Lisa. And, your topic of, the power of letting go is going to be really profound and poignant. You can tell. I mean, just, you know, the depth of experience from which you share and the depth of vulnerability which you share is very, very powerful and very, very moving for me. And I'm sure for, you know, everyone watching, and, you know, those who are also now being, sharing with us here, which is beautiful. So, you know, I'm super excited to just, you know, be able to dive in deep with you at the conference. But it's, you know, beautiful to have you share your journey with us, you know, because, you know, it's a courageous thing to do.
Thank you. Well, I really truly believe that everything that happens or we experience is really part of our service and purpose. So if we can turn it back around, you know, it's the jewel within all of the deconstruction is a rebirth and a resurrection. So I've walked through lots of this with our Soul Search community. So I'm really honored to be held and, you know, to be a part of things.
Wow. Look, what do you think, Tanjila, if we show the conference again for everyone?
Sure. Yes. Let's share. Definitely.
Let's share about the conference, and then we'll say goodbye to our friend. This is so exciting. All right. The Ascension of the Soul. We have 25, right? Isn't that right? 25 amazing speakers who talk on all aspects of Ascension, who talk on how to get into Ascension, how to tap into it, how to meditate, tools, vibrational changes. What else shall we say about it?
I mean, really, like so many different topics. Raquel, the astrological perspective, Krista with epigenetics, Suzanne with transfiguration, Laura with miraculous healing, Shariah also manifestation. So, you know, so many. Brand with the power of Organite, Scott speaking about how to manage and honor your animal bodies during ascension. So and Joan, you're talking about ascension and the angelic realm. So we have so many different perspectives of this topic of ascension, which, you know, we know is just so vast and so unique for every soul. And, you know, this conference really gives us an opportunity to dive in with incredible ascension experts like Lisa here, who has been just so incredibly generous with us, sharing her own journey, and, you know, has guided so many others through their journey. And being able to deep dive with her, as well as all of the other speakers and all these aspects, and just have these powerful downloads with each one. And here we have Jessie Blen giving her saludos from Costa Rica, and Planet Faco in Andromeda. She said over 600,000 of us Andromedans are here to help. Beautiful. Thank you, Jessie. That's exactly what Lisa was channeling and telling us as well, that, you know, we are so supported, you know, by our angels, guides, and star families. And here you go, another confirmation.
Tell everyone, by the way, that Soul Search, in case you haven't heard of Soul Search, guys, Soul Search is where you go if you're looking for a directory of healers, ascension teachers, intuition trainers, mediums, all the people that will help you step into ascension. Tanjila, from her own heart, was told, guided up when she went through her own soul journey. Now she makes it easy for people to find the right people to help them. Also want to mention a bit Portal to Ascension, an online program of webinars talking about not only ascension, but consciousness, all aspects of it, portals to consciousness, extraterrestrials, and ancient history, and even more. So, guys, we're just so happy that you're with us, and we have a lot to share. We're going to be doing more interviews on Ascension to the Soul.
Exactly.
So we will see you all next time.
And thank you so much to Lisa for joining us as our Ascension guide today, and just being such an inspirational teacher and guide for all of us. As you said, together we rise. So it's, you know, what I love about what you were saying is that, you know, we really are beyond the age of the guru, and each one of us is our own guru, and you're here to help all of us remember that we are our own guru, we are our own greatest teacher, and that we are so loved and so supported. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your experience, your heart, your love with all of us today, and everyone watching the replay. It's just so beautiful.
It's such my pleasure. Thank you for having me. And I've been playing with the guru, and it's Guyou, right? Yeah. Guru. Yeah. We got
Ooh,
this.
exactly. So, ooh, you.
Everyone.
Go you. Go you. Go you. Let's do that.
All right, guys, we're going to all see you all next time. And we
Yes.
thank you very much. We're on this journey together.
Thank you, Lisa. Thanks, Joan. And thanks to everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, much love.
Much love. Bye.
Much love.